This information is not official, is not supported by PWE. This content was removed from the official Neverwinter forums because it provides information that is potentially false and sheds negative light on unpublished or unknown drop rates within the game. Well, motherfucker, they're not unknown because we tested them. That was the whole point of the test. They were worried that if people knew what the actual rates were, if they knew how shitty the RNG actually was, then they would never invest.
So you make a better copy or a better computer. So what? When you have a monopoly market share, the company's not any more successful. So the people that can make the company more successful are sales and marketing people. And they end up running the companies. And the product people get driven out of the decision-making forums. And the companies forget what it means to make great products. Sort of the product sensibility and the product genius that brought them to that monopolistic position gets rotted out by people running these companies who have no conception of a good product versus a bad product. They have no conception of the craftsmanship that's required to take a good idea and turn it into a good product. And they really have no feeling in their hearts, usually, about wanting to really help the customers.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do look at the Reddit, but one of their arguments about like why it's unhealthy is because like people like you don't look at the Reddit anymore, and plenty of people don't look at the Reddit because they know that that's not where you go if you want to have a conversation. But what happens is when new players come into the game, they're going to be searching for some type of platform that they can reach out to people for help. And one of the first places you go if you're new to a game is like a Reddit page, for example, or the official forums, which are even more dead than the Reddit. Like just the other day, I went into the Guardian Fighter section and I found a post that I had made about Guardian Fighter like 2 years ago on the front page. So that shit doesn't move at all. The official forums at Arc Games, those forums don't even, and they're so difficult to navigate that players just get lost in them.
And the product genius that brought them to that monopolistic position gets rotted out.
Because of this up here at the top of the screen, this little live on Twitch, you see the first person up there on the left is Timmy. That's the #1 guy with the 55 views right now. Gamepedia is like, here, you can use us to host your wiki. Maybe they don't even, it's probably free for them too, because then what happens is this little toolbar goes in at the top of the screen up here, and all of a sudden anyone who's on the wiki page is now inadvertently viewing Timmy. So there could be like, I don't know, there might be like 40, say he actually only has 10 people in his chat right now, that means there's 45 people on the wiki page inadvertently viewing. So he might have, his numbers might look really awesome, but he's just, you know, he's streaming to nobody. Nobody's watching because they're not watching. They're down here scrolling up and down. But Gamepedia is using them for views. So now every single game on the planet that uses Gamepedia for their wiki has all of this. So Gamepedia is redirecting all of Neverwinter's viewers to Ninja, to Shroud, to Dr. Disrespect. Gamepedia is basically sucking the dick of all these streamers by using their platform to viewbot other streamers. And they do it to themselves too. Like when Gamepedia goes live, they put themselves at the head of this list so that no matter what game you're into, you're watching their live stream. It's nuts. It's disgusting. Like I watched Gamepedia stream Neverwinter the other day. They had 2,000 viewers. The only person talking in the chat was fucking Manic Gypsy. Like they had 2,000 dead viewers. Like it's insane. And this is legal somehow. Like they're just allowed to do this. This isn't considered viewbotting by Twitch at all. But like they don't give a fuck about the Twitch community, like, or the YouTube community. Like that's their attempt to make this game look fucking lit, man. The biggest streamers aren't even like longtime Neverwinter players. They're just people that the devs have paid during promotional events to get in here and stream. And if you were to look at our Reddit or the official forums for this game, you would just think from a quick glance that this game was dead based on the forums alone. And that's not good. That's because we're all talking somewhere else. We're all talking about the game on fucking Discord or on the Facebook pages or just amongst ourselves. I guess on the stream too, but there's so few of us who actually stream that it's kind of hard. So some of like the most influential and knowledgeable content creators and community voices are essentially just shut down. We're not allowed to say anything. I got banned. That kind of sucks, because it's like, from my perspective, it's like, where do I go? Like, if I have this information that I want to get out there, yeah, I'm a troll and I shit post and I make garbage content and I'm not politically correct and I say stupid shit off the top of my head, but I can't post about it on the Reddit, and I can't, like, I don't have anywhere to talk about my shit, like, or put myself out there. So what do? I guess I just I'm making content for nothing, because there's no place to really, that like content creators and people with good information can officially go to get their stuff recognized, and it sucks. And Neverwinter Uncensored is trying so hard. They do community spotlights where they feature like YouTube content creators or Twitch streamers, and they give shout outs to credible MMO minds builds. And yet, like, even though they're trying so hard to help the community, fucking they're still not getting any official recognition, and there's no attempt between the developers to make any kind of like dialogue exchange start with them. It's really frustrating as somebody who like gives a shit about the game and wants to be able to create content for the game, because I feel like I have nowhere to do that. Even fucking Neverwinter Uncensored doesn't know what to do, and they're probably the biggest voice for the community. Like, if Neverwinter Uncensored doesn't speak for the community, then who the fuck does? They're so concerned with being politically correct and not saying anything that's offensive to anyone, not saying anything negative about the game. Like, you can't mention any bugs whatsoever, or else you're banned. Even if it's just like, hey, I want this to get fixed, please. And I think the underlying, the dangerous premise behind all that is that they don't want people to know that their game is set up to just take money from unsuspecting people. I don't want to just like throw wild accusations out there like that, but it's kind of like how there are developers on Steam who will intentionally build like the first 2 hours of their game to be as good as possible, because they know that once you pass that 2 hour mark, you can't get your refund on Steam anymore. And that's also a large part of the reason why they will cater to this game to kind of helping players quickly progress. Like, they'll do a big promotional event and they'll hire a bunch of streamers to get on Twitch and bring all their fan base over here. It's like, oh, it's a perfect time to start off playing the game. It's double experience right now. If you refer your friends to the game, you get incentives also, Neverwinter's incentive and all that stuff. So they want to get like as many players in here as possible, new fresh faces in here. They want to get them to level 70 as quickly as possible, because that's where it's those people. They're the whales. They're the whales and the dolphins. They're the aquatic sea animals that are spending these massive amounts of money. Well, in PvP, for obvious reasons. Like, they want new players to get smashed, because what happens when new players get smashed? They examine your gear. They're like, who is wrecking me and why? They examine you, they look at your gear, and they're like, oh crap, this dude is really strong, I want to get like him. And even in PvE, like that pain giver number, like the whole your dick is only as big as your number on the pain giver chart, like that gives people incentive to build their tunes also. And there's no evidence that Neverwinter is doing this, but there's definitely companies out there who are doing this stuff. Activision is doing it. But they straight up patented this. Identify an item that may be relevant to the first player. Identify a second player that possesses that item. So basically it's like, identify a weak player who doesn't have the item. Then identify a second player that does have the item, or high level item level in our case. And then they changed the match variables to essentially match these two players. So they have a system that matches. Companies have patented a system that matches weak players with stronger players to kind of fuel players' desires to get stronger. So of course their interest is in these new players who don't know any better. They don't know how much it's going to cost to get to that level, and they start putting money in. They're like, oh, well, it's only $20. Oh shit, now I need a cold ward, so I'm just gonna put in. Well, I guess I can't just put in for one cold ward. I might as well get 2 cold wards. Shit, I have leftover after a coupon. I might as well buy another 2,000 Zen and get myself another couple cold wards. That type of thing. Like, it's a downhill spiral. They get you to buy more and more and more. I mean, it's dangerous for the community because they're banking on these new players spending a shit ton of money on the game. So that doesn't really leave any place for us, the average players, who just want to like casually enjoy the game, maybe not spend a whole lot of money because they're only interested in bringing as many people in as quickly as possible to exploit the maximum amount of money out of them before they even realize, or, you know, getting them hooked to gambling, which is a thing too. So you got to be aware that games like these are essentially gigantic online gambling simulators.
And they really have no feeling in their hearts, usually, about wanting to really help the customers.
The first comment that I see says, I had forgotten this game existed. And that has 248 upvotes. And that's from published by IGN. This has 200,000 views. The Ravenloft cinematic trailer has 200,000 views. And the top comment that I see says, I had forgotten this game existed. Oh, man. This guy's like, I thought it was a new game. Whoops, never heard of it, I guess. Somebody else goes, I'm still trying to forget it. Your wallet thanks you. You can argue that Neverwinter is not pay to win, but it sure as hell makes you want to pay to progress quickly. I will put it that way. Shit, they basically hand you free gear score when you first start off. As soon as you're level 70, what do? You go to Barovia, you get your freebie gear that gives you just enough item level to queue for content that you have no fucking right to be queuing for. So you hit those random queues as soon as you're 11k. You get raffle stomped in FBI. You get shit on in MSP. You don't even know the mechanics in MSP because you haven't even started the campaign. You just hit level 70 and you're doing MSP. You don't even know how to hit Q to jump across the gap. You fucking rage quit when your team leaves you behind. You get absolutely shit on as a new player. But they do this intentionally. That's the theory here. Getting players this item level, even though it's basically artificial item level. It's cosmetic item level. It's they give you 3 blue artifacts that are basically just item level. They don't have any stats that you need. They give you a weapon set that does absolutely nothing for you. They give you gear with rank 8 enchantments that can, I don't know, if you leave it how it is, I guess you get a little bit more armor pen, but you still don't have anywhere close to how much armor pen you need. So they're getting new players into this end game content quickly because they want them to get shit on. Those new players to then check our gear, see how good we are, and then start making investments in the game as quickly as possible before they A, either lose interest, or B, get smart and realize just how much money it's going to cost them to get to endgame. So yeah, I've been going down a rabbit hole of like conspiracy theory bullshit recently. Let me pull up this other video I stumbled on. Oh, curva. Wrong one. Hold on. This one is kind of like, this video is kind of weird because I feel like if Neverwinter sales start to drop a little too much and they stop making it, if players start to wise up about the antics, as it's kind of like, that's the trend right now, is players are fucking getting smart about this this player exploitation thing and them trying to milk us for money. Like, we're actually getting smarter. and we're learning, and you can see that in like stock, like the stock prices are going down for these fucking big companies that use loot boxes or loot crates or whatever we're calling them. Depends on the company that uses them. Fucking Activision stock over the last year, garbage. Fucking nosedives. Electronic Arts stock down like shit also. All these companies, I can only imagine what Perfect World like I can't, it's not so easy to find that with just a Google search. This stuff's super easy to find because they're huge companies. But like if people are wising up to their fucking pay to win bullshit, letting basically the marketing team run the company instead of game developers who actually give a fuck about the players. It's their marketing teams are essentially running these companies and doing everything they can to take money from people, because to them we're not players, we're payers. Which brings me to my next topic, the video that I was actually trying to get to. It makes me like really uncomfortable thinking that this might be the future of microtransactions, but like it's already starting to happen. But don't let me explain this to you. Let me let the company explain it for me.
Mobile games are a massive business, but competition is fierce, and the cost to acquire new players keeps going up. To have any chance of turning players into payers, game developers need to get their in-app purchases right. To boost revenue, you need deep insights into your players and the ability to customize prices for each. What if you could deliver the right price at the right time for the right buyer? We deliver dynamic pricing that increases conversion, reduces churn, and boosts the lifetime revenue of your app. Our plugin easily integrates into your game and common game development environments, where it captures hundreds of data points that inform purchase decisions. With predictive analytics and machine learning, our dynamic pricing engine analyzes pricing signals, segments players in real time, and automatically delivers targeted pricing. With better insights at your fingertips, you can keep improving engagement and retention. Now, nothing stands between you and monetization.
These companies are developing apps that can read your financial transactions and read your spending habits personally, and then use that information to exploit the most amount of money out of you. Basically, okay, well, I mean, yeah, it's mostly on mobile devices right now, but it's compatible with programs like Unity, which makes games for computers. Like, if they start integrating this software into fucking Neverwinter and they start to learn your financial habits somehow, I have no idea how they would do it. But if they manage to do it, then we're all in trouble. They'll start like, that might even be how they fucking work their coupon system right now. Like they might, those invocation packets might not drop coupons. Like they might drop you a fucking 1 hour coupon for a discount on VIP when they know you're about to run out of VIP and they know you don't have Zen. I don't know. It just drives me nuts thinking that they would be so sneaky as to use a program like this to know when to drop you a coupon that's most likely to incentivize you or most likely make you want to buy Zen in that moment, because if you don't buy Zen right now, your coupon's gonna go away. I'm not like specifically talking about Neverwinter. I'm talking about all of these microtransaction pay to win loot box type games where the entire well-being of the state of the game basically rests on the shoulder of these new players and creating new whales out of them. So yeah, let's do some Cradle, motherfucker. I'm tired of ranting.
Turning players into payers.
So the people that can make the company more successful are sales and marketing people. And they end up running the companies. And the product people get driven out of the decision-making forums.